Okay, hello everyone. Hi, I will just like to give a quick disclaimer. I am not an actor or an actress, so I will be reading from a script, just to make sure that I get everything right. So, good evening, my name is Laura Salter, and I'm one of the associate board members at Lincoln Park Community Services. As an associate board member, I've had the opportunity to be involved in many aspects of the organization, including the creation and planning of tonight's show. My volunteer experience at LPCS has been incredibly meaningful, and I hope after tonight you will also consider getting involved. At LPCS, we passionately believe that we are called to do the critical work of addressing homelessness. This evening, we are incredibly grateful to you that you have demonstrated an interest in hearing and learning more about the plight of some of our community's most vulnerable and underserved people. Your attendance here is, to me, truly inspiring and to LPCS, and reaffirms our mission to help individuals experiencing homelessness make substantial life changes that redirect the trajectory of their lives and communities. Before we begin, I would ask that you can silence your cellular and noise-making devices, and also, it's an important point, and also hold applause till the end of the show. Just to tell you a little bit more about tonight, so you will be hearing monologues inspired by real stories of individuals experiencing the challenges of housing insecurity. These stories aim to share an authentic representation of the numerous and diverse faces, circumstances, and life stories of homelessness. So I do hope that you enjoy the show.
Random faces with arbitrary names, swollen eyes, and brine-soaked brows. Coffee breath biting at you with bitterness, distracted only by the aching of your feet. With a humbled voice beneath an anguished grin, many are given names like alcoholic, disabled, difficult, bum, or share synonyms like post-traumatic, psychotic, psycho, or addiction. They will reside in places like shelters, rehabs, youth homes, nursing homes, and all too common, the street. They come together to form unspoken families where networking shapes by the light of street lamps. These are the faces of the homeless. These are the figures perished to the wayside somewhere cheap just to have it taken back with nowhere to go. Budget cuts, believing no one will notice, no one will care. Resumes, haircuts, and a sudden place to crash, a place to forget what led you here. Time to work the pavement again, got to reclaim your livelihood, learning to live on the basics again of bed, food, shelter. Quality of life has come down to a bus pass. The chaos and confusion and the feeling of deja vu, leaving you disoriented, living a lie and a chain of degradation, helpless and hapless by the ever-progression of new poor intermingling with the streetlight existence. These are the faces of today's homeless. Time for another cup of coffee and to ponder.
There's a saying that most people are a missed paycheck or two away from being homeless. I didn't believe it. I didn't think it was true until it happened to me. I grew up in Chatham. It was a good childhood. I went to South Shore High School. I have 4 sisters. We're very close. I never had a thought about homelessness until it happened to me. I always thought I was a good person. You hear all these homeless stories, drugs, alcohol. I thought that's how people got homeless. I didn't have those problems. I wasn't gonna be homeless until it happened to me. I had a good job that I liked. I worked in a warehouse, a spice company on the south side. I was never good with finances though. Never saved any money. Didn't know how. Didn't need to. My job was safe until it wasn't. Until it happened to me. When I lost my job, I didn't have too much money. Not enough to get by. I was living in my car. I lost my car. It was repossessed with all of my stuff inside. Made it hard to find another job. I was homeless. It was that 1 or 2 paycheck thing that I thought could never happen until it happened to me. I'm living at LPCS now. I'm back working again, working hard to get new housing. I want to move back to Chatham. My sisters are still living there. My story shows it can happen to anyone. There's no blame. There's no shame. It can happen to you. I know you think, not me. I did too, until it happened to me.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt stuck? Like as hard as you tried, you just couldn't get out of your circumstances? Well, let me tell you something about homelessness. It's just like that. Homelessness is a cycle. And the thing about cycles, they're hard to get out of once you're in them. At least it feels like that. Let me tell you about my cycle. Started here in Chicago, living in a shelter. Thought if I move out, get better, and move out to Dayton. No, just another shelter there. Moved back to Chicago, another shelter. Thought I'd try my luck in the suburbs. Shelter there. Moved back to the city. This time, no shelter. In fact, I was sleeping in the train cars. Finally, Lincoln Park Community Shelter. Yeah, there's programs. You've got a case manager. There's food. You've got a bed to sleep in. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're still homeless. Does this make me sound like I'm feeling sorry for myself? I'll admit it kind of does. But back then, I had a different mentality. Everything was about me. I was me-oriented. Now, let me take you back to the beginning. No, I wasn't always homeless. In fact, I had a really good job as an accountant. But then the economy went bad, and I lost my job. See, it wasn't my fault I lost my job. It was the economy's fault. See what I mean? Me-oriented. Shortly after losing my job, I became angry. And one day, I ended up kicking in a police car. I got 2 years for that. You kidding me? 2 years? There are kids out there doing worse things, and I get 2 years? Nah, it wasn't my fault I went to jail. See what I mean? Me-oriented. I only served one of those 2 years, and when I got out, yeah, that's what started my cycle. 7-year cycle. But when I got to Lincoln Park Community Shelter, I laid low, made sure I did my work, and stayed out of trouble. Well, mostly stayed out of trouble. You know, it's kind of hard to staying out of trouble when you've got a lot of people around you. And I had a case manager, really cool guy. Him and I, we connected, became friends. But just because we were friends didn't mean that he'd let me slack off. He never took any of my crap. And guess what? Happened. I broke the cycle. Now I've got my own place in the south side of the city, and I've been living there ever since. So now, I'd like to pay it forward. I'd like to support the community. I'd like to help out and serve. I'd like to live others-oriented.
My jacket. It has been with me for a long time. It is my security blanket, my pillow, my cover, my alter ego. It is the one thing no one can take away from me. And I found it at the worst, darkest hour of my life. And it's been my home and my friend. I love this jacket. I found it at the train station and it was very cold that night. It was on a bench, dirty and lonely, like me. I picked it up and tried it on. It fit like a glove fits a hand. It was just waiting for me. See, I felt like all my problems went away for that moment. I'd lost everything that day, but gained something that night. Something to hold on to, something unexpected. I hope my life finds something unexpectedly like this jacket. That's why I love my jacket.
I grew up in the south suburbs. I spent my first 22 years there. I felt protected and I had a great sense of community. It would be great to feel that way again someday. I was at LPCS for 4 years. I was homeless for another year before that. If you'd asked me a couple years before if I could have ever seen that happening, I would have never thought that. Never. Not many of us do. 2008, my life was going great. A year later, it turned into a disaster. It can and it does happen that fast. So, April 2008, my mom died. She was a great influence on me. She was my rock. A few months later, I lost my job. I'd been there for 29 years, almost 3 decades. I loved that job. Losing it was a shock to me. Those two losses so close together started my spiral downward. Then I lost my condo and hit rock bottom. I got to LPCS in May of 2013. I was at another shelter before that. I made it out once, but that didn't last. There's no shame in coming back. It happens a lot in our community, in the homeless community. But you know, I think things are going to turn out okay for me. I'm doing a lot better. LPCS has helped me. It's helped me a lot. I'm taking classes. I'm working a lot. I'm saving money. I'm learning to be independent. My goal was to get my own place, and in March of 2018, I got my own apartment. And I can see it would be nice to have someone in my life, too. It would complete the circle of my life. I can see it happening, and it feels close. Sounds pretty good, right?
December 2014, about a week before Christmas. I've been here a little over a year. Okay, don't tell anyone, it's really 18 months. I'm leaving here, though, in a month, but I can't think about that right now. Half the people here have the flu, and I don't want to join them. This guy here, Don, he started it. I'll tell you about him soon. You know, I don't feel so good. I think I'm going to go lie down for a bit. December 2014, Christmas Eve. I just went outside after being in bed for 5 days. I thought the fresh air would do me good, so I went for a walk. I almost walked all the way to the hospital. Damn, Don. Wonder where he is. January 2015. I am counting down the days until I leave here. The flu's passed. Everyone seems okay. Well, everyone except Don. He's in the hospital. I hope he's all right. Let me tell you about Don. He doesn't talk much. He's always either reading a novel or working on one of those little word search puzzles. He keeps to himself and he doesn't bother anybody. Yeah, whatever works, right? He's been at the shelter because he's been unemployed for a long time. No job means no money. Oh, he also has a heart condition. And he's a recovering alcoholic. You know, if this were a hockey game, all your hats would be on stage right now. It's the hat trick of homelessness. January 2015. No sign of Don. I asked the staff about him, but no one seems to know where he is. I think it's time for a road trip. We're at Stroger Hospital with a get well card and a word search puzzle. I have been on better road trips. There's Don. He's unconscious. He's got about 10 doctors and nurses working on him. Cancer. Pancreatic cancer. January 2015, a week later. Dinner's over. Let's get the announcements over. Oh, Don died. I look around. Everyone seems okay. I'm not okay. I can't stop crying. And I don't know whether it's Don or whether it's the 2-year journey that got me to this point. I think it's probably both. I'll be okay, I think. April 2018. It's been 3 years since Don died, and it's been about that much time since I left the shelter. Life is good. Minor complaints. Every once in a while, though, I think back to those sad days. Never forget. It is good not to forget. The hard times build character. I just wish Don could be here to tell you his own story. I think I'll go work on one of those word search puzzles.
I never really thought I would end up homeless. But then one day you wake up, and you are. When I got into trouble, I never had to stay outside. I could stay with my daughter for a week, 2 weeks. But she had had enough. I was homeless. But why? I didn't think I was an alcoholic. I would only drink at home. I wouldn't go out and buy drinks. I wasn't an alcoholic, right? One night I was cooking and then the fire alarm was ringing and I was asleep, or passed out, I guess. My daughter was clear. I needed help with my drinking. But before that help could come, I was evicted. A large city shelter came through for me. I wasn't scared. I just put it to God, what would happen there. It was good at first, I guess. I had meetings like at LPCS, AA, things like that. But if you went out for anything, when you came back, you were breathalyzed. And if you were positive, you were out. I felt that there was no freedom, no trust. I had gotten some things back in my life, but not everything. I remember we used to have these mother-daughter days, and when the grandkids came, the mother-family days. But when I was drinking, that stopped. And that's something I wanted back again. My daughter wanted it too. She would ask, "When are we gonna hang?" And I would say, "Next week." And next week never came. After the first shelter, I needed to find out what my own next step would be. And then I found out about this EEP program that LPCS runs. It's for people like me, with nothing and nowhere to go. Going back to that program was me taking my first step towards getting my family days back.
I'm living downtown, 18th floor, 4 blocks from Water Tower. Life is good. It was a long way to get here. My homeless journey starts back in Springfield. I was working at a hotel as a piano player. Been playing piano since I was a kid on the south side of Chicago. I was making money and meeting celebrities, and then my wife had a change in her job. She says to me, "I'm going to Atlanta, with you or without you." We had young kids, so we're moving to Georgia. Now, I didn't know anybody there. I didn't have any contacts, and it's hard to get a job in a hotel without that, or anywhere else for that matter. Not just hard, impossible. So I'm working security, doing a whole lot of hours, doing nothing. There was nothing to patrol. I was working back-to-back shifts, so I was just reading books and smoking weed. A lot of books, a lot of weed. After 5 years in Atlanta, we're going to Michigan. My wife takes a job with an old boyfriend she hadn't gotten over yet. We got a divorce. So now I'm in Michigan with no family. I'm doing a little of this and a little of that. And I was playing piano in a soup kitchen, and someone said to me, you should drive truck. Okay, it's a good idea. I'm about to get evicted from my apartment. It's minus 40 degrees out. I could live in the truck. So I was driving the truck up and down the East Coast, as far west as Iowa. It was good. Till the company had layoffs. From 1,000 trucks down to 50. Now I'm out of a job, so I head back to Chicago. It's my hometown, place I grew up. I live at the Mission for a few months. Homelessness has its own set of rules. Homeless people don't talk to each other. The only way is if you're in the same gang or prison, they have an affiliation. Otherwise, it's just 14 people living together, sleeping together. Nobody talks to anybody. But I can go to the library. I love to read. And then I went to unemployment, and they told me that Michigan would give me $100 a week. Well, with that money, I could run a storage unit. Now, if you can find one in a nice area, nobody checks on their stuff. You can sleep, read books, smoke weed. Yeah, I know. What really turned my life around was when I found LPCS. I tried a lot of shelters and roommates and the train, and none of it worked. And then someone I trusted said, "Why don't you call LPCS?" And I hesitated. She said, "Just call." So I did on a Friday. They said, "Come in for an appointment on Tuesday." Yeah, another list. But you know what? They got me in that night. I had a bunk in the corner. I had a dresser. They had a kitchen with real food. And they treated me like real people. And I thought, wow, now that I'm in, maybe I can leave here with real housing. It didn't matter to them how long I stayed. It's as long as it takes. And they helped me to concentrate on different things like changing my behaviors that got me here in the first place, how to use a computer to find resources, how to get a better life. So yeah, after all that, I'm living downtown, 18th floor, 4 blocks from Water Tower. I'm playing music at a church, I'm reading my books, got my cell phone, computer going, I'm checking out everything. It was a long way to get here, but life is good, and I'm having a ball.
Heard my first beat in the spring of '83, that Run DMC song preaching to me. Rapper, writer, poet, etch on my soul. First thing I do, celebrate with my bowl. Puff, 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 I put the pen to the page. It should be an easy career at such a young age. No producers, tracks. My rhymes fell on deaf ears. Endless nights, drowning in tears. I want the lifestyle. But no honey bunny money's waiting on me. I want that Benz. Fast forward. Been homeless now for 2 sets of 10s. It's like that. And that's the way it is. Been homeless for 20 years. But you know that don't get me down. I got my rhymes. Didn't matter if I was uptown, downtown, crosstown. I still find that beat in between the cracks of the street. Man, aspirations to be rich, famous, and known. But damn, life played a joke, didn't even throw me a bone, just into the unknown. I'm homeless. It's like that, and that's the way it is. Y'all don't get it. You need a reason for my self-treason? Oh, I forgot empathy being short supply for those of you who love to imply. Oh, man. The streets. So let me slow it down a bit. For those who need it broken down, tat for tit, it's hard to tell where I turned left instead of right, when all I had was the medicine of the streets as my guiding light. And the streets are crazy out there. But you know, there's some cool cats. And I met this one. He was a beast. Black Mac Cadillac, got fat stacks. Oh, he had the lifestyle. He even took me in, man. A real collaboration, partnership in the making. Till him and his crew accused me of stealing the TV. But I swear to God, the whole time, all my words are true. But then, blap, blap, they beat me till I was black and blue. The whipping chains came out. And finally, some sleep. It's like that. And that's the way it is. Beep, beep, awake, what the tongue-tied, bedridden, frozen in time, my thoughts on overdrive. I'm connected to IVs, I got doctors and nurses looking over me. Now they're telling me rehab is the place for me. Enslaved to this wheelchair, you will forever be. A family come out of the woodwork, and I hear about rehab. Yeah, my sister took me in, Donna. It's all good, till she caught me relapsing with marijuana. Back to the streets. It's like that, and that's the way it is. Negative direction, I cannot stand the sound of my hoarse inflection. But then, I take one last beautiful turn, and I end up at Lincoln Park Community Services. Warm food, nice bed, habitation, education, all sorts of new collaborations, freed from the streets of damnation. And all of a sudden, I hear a new beat. They call me Dodger, and I'm a rapper, and that's the way it is.
This is a church in Lincoln Park. It's also been my home for the last year, along with 34 other people. We're homeless. While we're all in the same place, our stories are different. You may think we're all the same. You'd be wrong. That guy over there is an alcoholic. The woman sitting next to him is a cocaine addict. Her friend Susan was abused by her partner. Alberto hasn't worked in over 3 years. He wants to and is out there looking for a job every single day. He just can't find someone to hire him. He can't find someone willing to take a chance. Me? I've been sick for the last couple of years. A little neurological thing. I can't work anymore, so I'm trying to get on disability. I'm told it takes a long time to get approved. Hell, it takes a long time to get denied. I've been trying for more than a year, so I'm here. This place, LPCS, isn't so bad for a homeless shelter. They feed you every day, 3 times, like real people. Go figure. On Mondays, they make these things called spinach balls, which everyone seems to love except me. I give mine away. Maybe I should sell them. Oh yeah, it's a homeless shelter. No one has money. Did you know they have a computer room here? I know! A homeless shelter with computers hooked up to the internet. And, get this, there's Wi-Fi. Really, if we could get cappuccinos, it'd be like living at Starbucks. Oh, there's a few of those down the street. I mean, it's Lincoln Park, people. Location, location, location. Talking about location, we all grew up in different places. You didn't think we all came from Cabrini Green, did you? There's a couple of us like that. Not as many as you think. I'm from the north suburbs of Chicago. There's a few of us here from there. Evanston, Highland Park, even Lake Forest. One night, some volunteers came to make us dinner. They were high school students from Northbrook. We were all telling them our stories about how we got here. I think they were amazed that we all grew up in the same area. It was surreal for all of us. It felt like an episode of Scared Straight. You know, things could be worse, much worse. I mean, we have Wi-Fi, people. One night I was complaining about something, I don't remember what, and maybe the Wi-Fi was out. I seem to be a little obsessed with that. Anyway, a friend of mine said maybe we should take a little trip to another shelter and then I could shut the F up and be thankful. I didn't need the trip, I got the point. And I am thankful. Things are looking good for me now. I'm feeling better. Some of my other problems seem better too. I'll be out of here and on my own sooner than later. So now, when I have a bad moment, I just try to realize that things could be worse. I think of my favorite philosopher, the musician Joe Walsh. He's always singing about taking things one day at a time and how life's been good to him so far. Yeah, sure, easy for him, he drives a Maserati. But I do get it. Gratitude is everything. All this is just a little blip.
It started for me in 2008. The economy went downhill fast. I lost 1/3 of my savings, but it was okay because I still had a job. Nothing desperate, not yet. 3 years later, I lost my job, but I still had savings and I was able to live on unemployment until that ran out in 2013. I had to start spending my savings. I was okay for another 2 years, but I couldn't find work. Then I got evicted. My health was declining. My family doesn't live in the area. They couldn't help. I ended up at another bigger shelter. Okay, but too many people, not enough personal attention. Finally, I end up at LPCS and my situation turns around. I'm doing better now. I have my own apartment. My health is improving. And, most days you can find me at LPCS, either working the front desk or knitting in the common room. No complaints. I'm really good at saving, but when you're living on a fixed income from check to check, things don't always go as planned. Sure, most of my basic needs are met. Housing, check. Food, check. I need new glasses. You think it'd be easy to get glasses, right? You go to the doctor, you have an exam, you get a prescription, you pick out a pair, pick up the order, done, right? But now I need bifocals or progressives, and there's this special protective coating. It's adding up. Plus, I found these frames. I really like them. They're really pretty. Rose gold. Did I mention that I like them? Oh my goodness, the glasses cost $500. $500! Where am I going to get $500? But then I remember that LPCS has a savings program. It's usually for putting a deposit on a house or other important emergencies. Do you think new glasses is an emergency? Well, maybe not, but they're gonna let me use the program. I figure out I can save $50 a month.
Wow, it's gonna take 10 months to save up for these glasses. Will the store even have them then? First month, $50. Second month, $50. It's a start. Month 5, halfway there. Month 7, another $50. Month 8, we're getting close. Month 9, so close. Month 10, the final $50. I can finally buy those glasses. At LPCS, they have this thing where if you reach a goal, then you get to ring a bell to signify your accomplishment. We all agreed that saving 10 long months for something that I really wanted and needed was a bell-ringing moment. Here they are. I told you they were pretty.
I'm an ex-everything. An ex-offender, an ex-addict in recovery, and I was homeless too. I can relate to the people in the shelter. I'm them. I've experienced it and I've lived it. That's different than reading about it in a book. The way I treat a situation is different than someone who hasn't lived it. I feel like I know the root. I feel like after I've talked to someone or after I've watched them for a while, I know whether they need someone to stand on them or they need someone to be on their side and stroke them and tell them it's going to be okay. I was the type. You had to stand on me. I would pull any trick, tell any lie, because that's what I was used to doing. I was an addict. Cocaine, heroin, alcohol, marijuana. I tried it all. The main two were cocaine and heroin. I was incarcerated numerous times. Retail theft, all the way down. I loved Michigan Avenue. The Magnificent Mile. I used to think that the stuff in other people's stores was mine. I used to call Marshall Field my father. You know, you can make yourself believe anything in an altered state of mind, and I believed it. Marshall Field tried to hire me to be a loss prevention consultant. That's how good I was. My rock bottom was going to the penitentiary 3 times in 18 months. 3 times. The first time I got out of jail, I didn't show up for my interview at Grace House. I was full of drugs. I didn't even try. The second time, I went to the shelter, but I was high again. I went inside the place and could tell it was a blessed place, but I was embarrassed because I was out of order again. Third time in jail, I got straight there. I got clean. There were drugs there, but I didn't want any. I said, no, I'm done. I was tired, and I didn't want any. I lived at Grace House for 13 months. There, my brain rebooted. I could feel the shift. I realized that my best thinking kept me addicted. I didn't trust my thought process anymore. I realized that if I went to a good place with good people and used their judgment, I'd be better off. I met Betsy at Grace House. 18 months later, I was working with her at LPCS. I started out part-time, and then within 2 years, I was full-time, salaried, and had a staff. The guests here call me their mama shot, their favorite auntie. Now, I ain't gonna coddle you, but I'm still gonna love you. So the majority of the guests well, they either can't stand me or they love me. There ain't no in between. But a lot of the ones that can't stand me, well, they come back and they tell the others, you know, she used to get on my nerves, but I see what she was doing, and it helped me. See, now I'm doing the right things for the right reasons. Helping you is helping me. I don't trip on whether someone likes me now, because I like me today. My life experience is a good example. It's a proof positive example for people who are living in a shelter, for someone who is addicted or in jail, that it's never too late. If I can do it, you can do it.
It's Saturday morning, really early. It's my birthday. 30-something. Happy birthday to me. What should I do on my birthday? Maybe go to a movie, listen to some music, can go to a bar, alcohol. White Sox are playing today. Nah, they're not very good. Too bad it's not 2005. Maybe I'll just roll over, go back to sleep. No, can't do that. It's time to get up. Got to head over to the shelter. I'm making lunch for the people who live there. Lasagna. For 50 people. I know, I do know. It's my birthday, and people should be cooking for me. But let me tell you something about this helping people, about this volunteering thing. It's kind of a hidden secret. You know, doing this, helping others, it makes me feel good. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. It's a win-win thing. So try volunteering sometime. You'll see. It's off to the shelter, though. Lasagna for 50 people on my birthday.
I haven't been homeless for close to 2 years. If this experience has taught me anything, it's that the failures in my life continue to challenge me, but also bring out the light bulb moments in my life. I know who I am now. I'm someone who continues to be challenged by mental health, with my mother and with my sister. But there are a lot of families out there who are feeling the same stress of daily life. There's a child who might be growing up just like I did, trying to figure out how to help a parent or a sibling. These stories teach us that there's more out there to do and more ways we can take our own lives and learn from them and make things better for other people. Mental health education is the single most important advocacy mission I'm likely to do in my lifetime. In everything I see around me in the news, where families are just trying to survive, mental health comes into play. We talk about helping others who suffer from cancer or heart disease, but we fear and shy away from dealing with anything having to do with the mind that connects us all. How to solve that message? How can I reach out to families just like mine and give them hope? Striving for success, whatever that means, can help break the cycle of poverty, homelessness, or family traits. Knowledge and forgiveness and living in the now can change lives. My goals are clear in that regard now through my nonprofit. My goal is to live in the moment. Past and future have their time. How can you know the world around you without giving of yourself? And by doing so, you save the world by understanding mental health. The journey continues.
I am from Togo, West Africa, exactly 5,739 miles from Chicago. I am a long way from home, but there is a story behind me, a story you should hear. I was a strong, independent woman in Togo, which, if you know anything about the Republic of Togo, is a rare thing. When I was there, the political regime was so bad you could not imagine. There was no progression. The people had no voice. But I had a voice, and I wanted to be heard. I started speaking out when I was 31 years old. I saved women from their husbands. Domestic violence, you know. Some people say I'm a hero, a fighter. Maybe that's true. Maybe I am just me. I did very well when I was in Togo. I had a big house. I made it my mission to take in these women who had no place to go. I gave them a home, I gave them hope. But then our political leader died. People said that there was change in the air. It was, but not the kind of change that you dream about, the kind of change you have nightmares about. The political uprising was brutal. There were no fairly elected officials, only family members that thought that they had the right to power. But I continued my work in the shadows. And then one day, hope, a permit to protest domestic violence in public. Too good to be true. We came in mass to protest for women's rights in peaceful protests. But they came too, the government. Not in peace, but in hate and violence, shooting at will. One by one, people were dropping around me. I ran for my freedom. I ran for my life. But I lost everything that day. They knew who I was. They put me in prison, in a small cell. The abuse was terrible. They were relentless, violent, and unrestrained. I had courage and a voice they did not like. After many years, I had no hope of ever being freed. But then one day, light, a person appeared. They came to take me. I trusted them. I was freed. I was well moved and trafficked across the border to Benin. And then real hope, I was granted political asylum in America. A chance for a new start and an opportunity for a voice. America was a big transition, but I was reunited with my daughter. She was successful and married. After all those years, I thought, I can finally have a fresh start. A new life, a life. And it was good for a while. But then the abuse started again from my family. I didn't get it at first, but then I worked it out. They were controlling me emotionally and financially. I didn't know where to go, what to do, how to escape from somewhere that I should be safe. I confided to a friend. She was the catalyst. She said, "This time you must free yourself." So I left. I left with nothing, moving from women's shelter to women's shelter, till I found LPCS. It is my home now. I am free, free from violence and abuse, and full of hope and a future. LPCS helped me to find a job, and soon, I will have my own apartment.
I am an addict. I'm clean now, but I'll always be an addict. I started at the age of 14, started drinking, smoking pot. I worked odd jobs around the neighborhood and hustled to find money to feed my habit. When I got older, I got better jobs, driving, working the assembly line, but it was all to feed my habit. I moved up to crack and heroin. The drugs got to be too much. They always did, they always do get to be too much. But the thing is, I was smooth. See, after a few days of not going to work, I could always talk my way back in. Almost always. I got a job working at M&M Mars, you know, the candy shop, Snickers, Milky Ways. And I met a woman. It was a great 3 years. Then she left me, I lost my job, and then I started using. Hard. I went to LPCS for the first time in 2008. I heard it was a great place, but I was not ready. I mean, they have rules and curfews and rules. I left after a week. I wasn't ready. I went to rehab instead, 7 months. I wanted to get clean. I needed to get clean. I needed to put some routine back into my life. I relapsed a few times. That happens. That's fine. The important thing is that I came back. And in 2010, I went back to LPCS. And this time I was ready. I set goals. I went to classes. I even cleaned. And you know, things went well. And then I found myself with some money and back in the hood in Inglewood. Woke up on a porch, drunk and ashamed. But you see, not all stories have terrible endings. Some have happy endings, like fairy tales. Mine did. See, I called my case manager. I told him what happened. And he says, "William, come back. We believe in second chances." And I didn't see that coming. And I came back, and I never looked back. And this time it finally worked. I went to AA, I got a sponsor, went to my classes, I got a job, I got an apartment in Old Town, and I am so grateful to LPCS. And I come back because not only is it important that we all stay connected, but because I want to help people help themselves. And I'm just grateful.
Homelessness is something everyone prays they'll never go through. The year is 2009 and the economy is bad. People are losing their jobs and homes left to right. My situation began in September of that year. Within 1 month, I was laid off of work, lost my home, and was diagnosed with glaucoma. Since I wasn't well prepared for this unexpected situation, I was forced to bounce around for a while. I stayed with friends and my kids and their families, each time feeling like either I was taking advantage of them or they were taking advantage of me. You know the saying, you don't know a person until you live with them. Finally, after months of couch hopping and not getting my rest and developing migraines because of the glaucoma, I made the decision to put myself in a shelter. This was my first time in a shelter. And initially, strangely, it was okay because I needed my rest, but at the same time, the rules, the curfews, the classes, the people made it a very difficult adjustment. But I had no choice. I had no place to go. So I dealt with it for a few months, and after a while, I moved on to another shelter, and that had its own set of challenges. But I believe these difficulties and challenges were my inspiration to find somewhere where I could relax, heal, and make an attempt to get back on my feet again. And one day I called the Lincoln Park Community Shelter, and there was a bed for me. The stay at LPCS is unlike any of the other shelters. It was transitional. You had to go through certain stages. There are duties and activities that you had to participate in, which at the moment you may not think are necessary, but they are. They make you strive for achievement and prepare you for life again. And the staff at LPCS is something to write home about. They are a wonderful group of people, and they come from all walks of life, which to me is a good thing. My case manager, Brianne, is soft-spoken, but she really helped when I needed her. They helped in so many different areas: school, getting my record cleared, and most importantly, finding a place to live. Now for my future, I planned on finding work and making sure my health is good. So to me, there are shelters, and then there's LPCS in a class by itself.
Keys are often overlooked. They're tossed aside or lost. But to some, a key does more than just open the door. See, being homeless is a lot like being lost. Let's face it, nobody wants you around. Nobody wants to be around you. You lose your self-respect. You lose your dignity. You lose your pride. You just want to give up. When I came to LPCS, I knew it was time to make changes in my life. See, what I did in the past and what I was doing then wasn't working. Not for me, not for the people still left in my life. It was time for something different, something new. See, all the classes here, they help you get your life back on track, how to live more independent. I worked the program, but I knew it was going to take some time. Man, it gets frustrating. You take a couple steps forward, and there's a step back, another setback. But you got to stay positive and keep working. Got to keep moving forward. Be patient. See, I'd seen a lot of people ring that bell before me. They got their key. I was happy for them. I was. But I wondered when my time would come. How would I act? Better yet, how would I feel when it was my time? When I finally got my key, I was so happy. Never thought this could happen to me. See, this is what I've been waiting for. 23 years. To be on my own. To finally be independent. I'm not the same person as when I walked through these doors. This program, it's changed me. It's made me a better person. I am so thankful for my new apartment because it gave me a new life. See,
I got some of the most beautiful grandchildren that you've ever seen. And before, I got to see them like once a year, if that. Now I get to see them regularly. And it's all because of this key. My key.
Good evening. My name is Dan Hula, and I'm the Executive Director at Lincoln Park Community Services. And I have just a few closing remarks to say, but before I do, I have to ask the actors to come out here. They did such an incredible job. You guys should come on out. Now, this evening could not have been made possible tonight if it wasn't for Laura Salter. And where's Laura at? Can't see the lights. There she is. As you guys met earlier, Laura is one of our incredible associate board members, and she really was the brainchild behind this project. And she's put so much work into it, along with a lot of our other volunteers, to make this night a reality and make this happen. So a huge thank you to Laura. I'd also like to thank many of our sponsors who have helped make this night possible. We'd like to thank Giovanni Lipaldi and Michael Gunderson, who sponsored tonight's event, and also our many in-kind sponsors. Lifeway Kefir, T. Geschwender, Insomnia Cookies, Grand Rapid Popcorn Company, Mars Food, Boxed Water, and the LPCS Associate Board, who provided refreshments for our pre-reception, as well as Steve Scapp Photography and BMP Film Company, who helped capture tonight on film. We'd also like to thank Mr. Howard Moore, who was just up here, who's not only a graduate of LPCS, but was also the head writer tonight of the monologues. Also, James Fleming, tonight's brilliant director. And then once again, just the incredible actors and the amount of time and commitment and passion they put into these monologues tonight. And of course, lastly, we could not have shared this experience with you tonight without the tremendous generosity and partnership of the Goodman Theatre. The theater provided this wonderful space to LPCS at no cost, and we are so incredibly grateful for this opportunity and for helping make this night a reality. Now, proceeds from tonight's event will be allocated towards our capital fundraising campaign. As you may have heard, LPCS has grown up. LPCS has embarked on an incredibly exciting capital campaign in which we are going to build a brand new facility and have a brand new home that will not only triple our size and physical space, but will allow us to serve more men and women than we ever have before. Yeah, I'll take that. Our closest friends and supporters have been remarkably responsible to our call for support, and we've already generously had $3.2 million in support of this project so far. However, we have not yet reached our goal. But yes, let's please get a round of applause for all those who have helped so far. We still have not reached our goal, though. And if what you witnessed and experienced here tonight has moved you to contribute to our project, I ask you to please use the envelope that's inside your playbill, and please look to make a contribution to LPCS, and please support this project. If you prefer to make a pledge donation or would like more information about LPCS programs and the people we serve, please visit one of the information stations, and they're right outside here, the theater. And I just want to say thank you all again. This this program, this project has grown so much in just a year, and it's incredible that we filled this place tonight, and we have so many individuals who are here who want to hear the stories of our incredible guests and graduates. So thank you all so much for attending. Thank you.